This is the makeup meeting for the February 18th one. This is February 23rd, facilities. Thank you all for coming. And so I guess first of all, I'd like to look for an approval of the January. Do we have the meeting minutes, Doug?
I don't believe we do. I haven't seen them.
We can hold off until next time. That's fine.
Yeah, we can double approve the next two, I guess.
Okay, Mike said, crud, I forgot to tell you I'm working late tonight. Sorry, too many claims. Yep, I guess so. Okay, well, we'll just continue on then, and I'll fill him in.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So we'll deal with that next time, our January meeting minutes. Okay, we'll move on to old business first. So we'll start off with our full day kindergarten.
Yep. Thank you. I just wanted to circle back. Actually, Dr. Farina and I wanted to circle back with the committee and update everyone on the renovations that I'd like to recommend, and then also an update on the furniture and casework. There's been a significant amount of work done, or at least a meeting or two held, and we have some renderings on furniture and some very order of magnitude costs, nothing concrete as of yet. I will go ahead and share my screen real quick. Everyone see that?
Yep.
Okay. So this is the the few pages out of the larger study or assessment that was done of the Hereford full day K space. And if you recall, Scott Graham from Muhlenberg Green had presented us with 3 different schemes. There didn't really seem to be kind of an appetite at this point for the kind of the full renovation scope. I think we all recognize that area could use that work, but we're going to prioritize that in our long-term capital plan. It's not a hard no. It's just a matter of potentially when, not if. So I took some time to just highlight the items from actually scheme 1 and 2 that I wanted to recommend that we move forward with, and then just put some order of magnitude costs to those. The first one being the infill of the opening between the existing classrooms, just to make that a little more safer for our staff and students. I know some of them like that opening, but really from a safety and security standpoint, we prefer to have those filled in. I believe we could do that work in-house. I was at Hereford today and looked at it. It didn't seem overly complicated. I would like to do the preventative maintenance on the unit ventilators that are in each of the classrooms. I think that's important. I'm not sure we could do that in-house. Possibly it's going to be based on the bandwidth of our HVAC mechanic, but worst case, if I have to go outside, that won't be too costly. The lighting will be retrofitted as part of the Giza project. That's already in the plan. The damaged insulation, skipping to H, I think I could also have a mechanical contractor address that as part of the Giza while they're on site in the district working on other projects. I would like to get an electrician out to modify the electric for the projectors. The current setup with extension cords is less than optimal. So we'd like to get that work done. And probably the biggest ticket item is the storefront or the doorway into that wing. Letter C in scheme 2 says a fire barrier. I don't know that it would actually be a fire barrier, although we could explore that. It was more just to sort of separate that wing from the balance of the school. And as students are making their way to the restroom, they would be sort of contained in that kindergarten wing and not have the free run of the school. So that would be certainly better from an accountability standpoint. Some of these other items, not to minimize them. The door hardware is something that I really want to look at district-wide versus just at Hereford. We have door hardware upgrades to do at a number of our schools. We can do, if there's patching or repairing of floor tiles, we can certainly attack that in-house. That doesn't have to be anything formal. Jim Roth, our IT director, does not feel that the data wiring requires any kind of upgrade or replacement, so I didn't include that. And in full transparency, the architect is recommending a sprinkler system upgrade in the facility. I don't disagree. I just think, similar to the door hardware, I think we really need to plot that out on our long-term capital plan and potentially look at doing that work with other concurrent work in the district. That, based on his estimate and the estimate in the 2016 feasibility study, that could be $400,000 or $500,000 to, depending on whether or not we would need a fire pump in that location. So certainly on the radar, but not for this summer.
You're talking about the whole school for the
whole
sprinkler
school,
system.
the whole
Okay.
school, right? So that's kind of where I am from, things to attack this summer. If we decide to do the doorway into the space, I would need to engage Muhlenberg Green, at least for a very kind of high level sketch that I can submit for a permit to Hereford Township, because that's something that would be subject to a permit. So we would incur some professional fees in that regard, but everything else, is essentially just quoting. I don't see anything that would rise to the level of a public bid. Are there any questions on any of these items?
I don't have any. I think they're pretty straightforward. And I think that's pretty minimal in a good way.
Yeah, exactly. We can make these incremental changes and can, keep the others on the radar and just, sort of continue to work the list. Dr. Farina, can I pass the torch to you or the baton to you for the furniture?
Yes, can you let me share?
I can. Go ahead and try that.
Can everyone see this?
Yep.
So if you remember in the schemes provided by Muhlenberg, the discussion about furniture and casework, we were given a $60,000 per classroom estimate. And, in our original discussion, I think we were all quite surprised at that figure, although we all understand we've been down the casework road before and understand that it does come at a cost. However, having worked with Corbett over time, our recommendation was that we explore them to come up with solutions around not having load-bearing walls, but offering the teachers at Hereford who do not have any kind of storage, appropriate casework that's still safe for kids. And so what we did is we engaged Corbett. We had them come out to Hereford and look at the spaces, and we shared with them some of the renderings that were offered by the architect, and they were able to put together a package with potential layouts for classrooms. And so Doug and Mo and I all traveled down to Corbett. We reviewed, we looked at some of the furniture, and they gave us multiple potential floor plans for the classrooms. So I just want to remind the committee that there are 6 classroom spaces and 4 common spaces that we're looking to furnish and create casework for. The 6 classrooms, we would want it to be consistent with storage as the priority, but then also providing some furniture that meets the expectation of full full day K and the curriculum that Mrs. Bast and Mrs. Rothermel and our kindergarten teachers have been working on. So we're trying to make the environment fit all the new programming that will occur, knowing that our littlest learners are going to be there for a really long time, and it's going to feel like a really long time. And so what they did is they provided us these 3 sketches. You can see that there is always a combination of cubby storage, tall vertical storage, because the teachers also have belongings that they need to store. And if you look at Marlboro's classrooms, it affords them some of that. Groupings and tables. Now, a lot of the conversation has been, we're in COVID times, but are we really going to invest that much money in knowing? So, for example, the discussion was single desks or tables. And I see Tanya on there, and I think, Mo said, I think you're going to find that they're still going to want tables. So, we're looking to make an investment for long-term, not to get us through this COVID period. And so there are other ways for us to create barriers and mitigation strategies that would still allow us to give us furniture that would endure beyond potentially sort of some of these mitigation efforts we're currently making. And so, as a team, we steered in that direction with Corbett because we did not believe single seats would be appropriate necessarily for our kindergartners. And so you'll see that some of the dynamic furniture is interchangeable. The classic reading tables are important for some of that curriculum work, but also soft seating, new teacher desks. We are trying to create a healthy learning environment that kids will be in for a long time. And if you've been to Marlboro, it's in really good shape. It looks really nice. And so there are variations of those combinations. Now, I think that tables, chairs, storage, those are all things that came into question, and we really prioritized storage. And I was happy to hear in a kindergarten meeting today, and we're last night at curriculum and instruction, to hear Tanya say storage, storage, storage. That really is paramount to what we're doing. And so, I think that if I gave you the scope of this, our plan is we didn't like one of these. And so what we asked Corbett to do is go back and create, they're doing good, better, best, which is what they always have done for us, good, better, best. And then we'll turn it over to the kindergarten teachers. So storage options, good, better, best, which one would you prefer? Seating arrangements, good, better, best, what would you prefer? Teacher desk. And I know these sound like really silly nuances, but kindergarten has some very specific needs based on their curriculum and based on the developmental age of the kids. They come with more supplies probably than anybody I've ever seen. And so we need to be mindful that they are going to have to weigh in on these decisions. And soft seating. And, I think there's always this balance, right? Everybody likes soft seating, but having never taught kindergarten, does it become like, the place where kids want to sleep all day? I don't know those answers. So we would come up with configurations. I went back and I said, this to me looks like a nice place to take a good nap in rendering number 1. I'm not sure if the kindergarten team would want to go that large scale on soft seating. Maybe they would. And so we're asking them to do that, but in the context of cost, which is really, what the facilities committee we're going to have to finalize is, so between furniture and casework, it looks collectively, Muhlenberg gave us that like 430 to 450 figure. Corbett, we could do all furniture and casework solutions for around $250,000.
Is that both schools?
No, this is only Hereford.
Okay. Okay.
Only Hereford. However, I do need to lean into Marlboro a little bit. There is some new, because of the curriculum and the work that our kindergarten teachers are doing. There is play that is woven in that calls for some very specific furniture. we would want to make sure there's equity. You know, we don't want to address one thing and then create an inequity. And so we would recommend a pocket of funds in order to buy those unique furniture pieces for Marlboro also. And so, you know, I think we would be remiss to not provide them equitable sort of curricular materials that come in the form of furniture. And so we're still at a place where we need to reserve a pocket of money to make sure we can do that at both schools. You know, things like water tables or sand tables. And I'm going to try not to look at Tanya, who might be like, sand, get out of town, you know? You know, but those are the things that we still want them. So we want to reserve a pocket of money to make sure we can do that at both of the buildings. You know, cost is a factor. And so, you know, we are looking at around that $250,000 mark with some reservation of funds to pick up those pieces at Marlboro that would be unique, but need to supplement the curriculum.
So you think maybe like 25,000 more for, I know it depends on what.
Yeah, and that would be maximum. So, you know, I think that we're looking at that, saying that's the cap. And so now we work backward from that. It could be less.
Okay.
Depending on what the teachers, but it won't be more.
Okay.
You know, and that's, it actually it turns out in some circumstances, they may pick the chairs that are less expensive or the soft seating that is. But I did ask Corbett to give me what is worst case scenario. And I will say a large amount of that is going toward casework.
Yep.
And it has to be, it can't be wall mounted because of the nature of the walls. So it has to be able to be securely mounted to the floor, which creates a couple different variables for us that make it a little, you know, a little more costly.
Okay. I remember when we did 4-5 and that, you know, that's not scary to me.
Yeah, I thought, you know, I think the recommended Muhlenberg budget was $1.2 million. So I think we've been able to curtail that significantly with our recommendation.
Yes. Anybody have any questions so far? I can't see everyone's hands. So, oh, Tanya, go ahead.
I have a question. Would there be a space for floor sitting, you know, to have our whole group on the carpet? Eventually we'll get back to a place like that. I would never do a whole group on soft seating. Like, that's like our big space. That's the one thing in looking at all those plans is we're on the floor. Right now, I'm ready to get rid of the desks and bring in yoga mats because on the floor, we stand at tables to do work. You know, you stand at the tables and you do work during group. So from our mindset, we still want that space to meet on the floor.
Yep. Oh, go ahead, Mo.
No, I just was going to share. So one of the exciting things that corporate does is it helps us to stretch our thinking from what we used to do to what's possible in the future. And so, yes, Tanya and anyone else that's listening, one of the options that they're going to be showing us is these really neat wheel carts that allow for something they call lily pad seats that are color coded and they're plastic or vinyl, but they're like really thick cushion. And it would go into something that you could actually wheel around your room, give students their own spot. So you could have a group of 3, you could have a whole class of 30. You could, you know, whatever the size of the room would be, you can make the shape of the grouping that you would like. And then from a cleanup perspective, for, you know, being delicate, of course, to our 6-year-olds that are learning toileting, we've had some issues where classroom carpets aren't always the easiest to replace. So this allows us the opportunity to have flexible seating that meets our children's needs, our teachers' needs, and also could switch out if we need to for damage or for any other kind of sanitary reasons. So yes, I'm excited for you guys to start to see some of these options.
Peg, go ahead. I see you.
I hate to be the wet blanket, but what the heck? Mrs. Castle, how are we paying for all this?
To be determined. Have to see what the total cost is, and then it's going to be part of this will be budget. Some will come out of capital. For example, the furniture could be a capital expense. All the, you know, and then some of the things that Doug was looking at would be considered capital. Of course, you have to pair that up with the Giza project too, because, you know, that's tapping into your capital. And actually what I'll do is I will provide you with where we are now with that, with the capital dollars. I have that information, so I'll share that with the board, after this meeting. So you can see where we are, but you have your Giza and then you have your kindergarten. And I know they're doing a presentation for total cost or doing a presentation Thursday night on kindergarten. So, but yes, some of it will have to be out of the ongoing budget because we'll be needing staff to support the program.
Yeah, that was my next question. To sustain this endeavor, what does it look like down the road, next year or the year after, and so on and so forth? So I'm assuming that before you leave, you'll be scheduling those extra car washes and bake sales.
Yeah, I'm trying to grow those money trees, but it's not working too well.
All right.
So by my calculations, if I added that up just quickly, we're looking at 400,000 or less. That's the furniture, the fixtures, the renovations. So then we just have staff. Am I missing anything else? But obviously staff would be ongoing. These would be finite costs once and done.
There's
Am I
a,
missing anything?
yeah, there's just a small amount for curriculum resources to fill up extra classrooms that might need to be filled. That's not
Okay.
astronomical.
Okay. So we're probably even, 405, somewhere around there, somewhere around 400. Okay.
That's just one more bake sale.
Yep, exactly. Yep. All right. Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't see a problem with any of that. Any other, Dane, are you the only other board member on here?
Keith is on too.
Oh, okay. I can't see everybody at once. So any questions, issues, comments,
No, just
yays or nays?
yay. Let's spend some more money.
I know. Yeah, I know. Keith?
Been a long time coming. We should have done this years ago.
Yeah,
And
That's
hopefully-
it. We're just catching up.
Well,
Yeah.
okay, I said things years ago, so let's just leave it at that. Let's keep moving forward and do the best that we can.
Yep. Peg, thoughts? Agreeable to that?
No, I'm just cautiously optimistic as
I
usual.
know.
So, but
I
we're
know.
good. We're good. I agree with Keith and Dana, we're moving on.
Yep. Okay. All right. Well, I think you get where we're coming from facilities perspective. Lots of bake sales and we'll be ready to roll.
Thank you,
Plowing opportunity.
kindergarten.
Yep. You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome. We know we need it. We know we need it. This is going to put us on the right path for a long time to come.
Thank you.
Yep. Anyone else have any questions, comments about full day K? All right, hearing none and hopefully not seeing any more because I can only see most of us. Move on to the high school varsity softball field drainage improvement options. And I bet you they're more than full day K.
Again, just similar to full day K, I wanted to circle back to the committee. If you recall from the last meeting, we had some takeaways, and we asked, I think Ms. Pennypacker asked that Mr. Kurzwig attend this meeting, so he was kind enough to join us this evening. We did a little bit of homework on the potential option of relocating the field. And got some order of magnitude pricing from Boyertown as sort of a very top and sort of benchmark. They actually have the email here somewhere. Their bids were $868,000, and that did not include their backstop, fencing, scoreboard, or moving the field. So, you're potentially into that 7-figure if you wanted to be, on par with that facility, something less, but it significant.
They did it right, Doug.
No, I know. I've seen it. It's fabulous. It's really fabulous. Mr. Kurzwig, I don't believe we heard back from Methacton, correct?
They were trying to get Mr. Spiewak was trying to get me the information, but he'd not had any success as of this point.
Okay, all right, thank you. So this was the same chart that we reviewed at the last meeting, and I just took time to highlight in yellow. If we keep the field where it currently is and move forward with the drainage project, that would come in at about 160,000. I might as well let the cat out of the bag here, but Mr. Kurzwig also did quite a bit of work on gathering quotes for upgraded equipment and facilities at the field, specifically a batting tunnel, new bleachers, a new scoreboard, and relocating that from its current position, netting for preventing the balls from going into that marshy area every time a foul ball gets hit past first baseline. And we're kind of in that 220, 225 number. If the will of the committee is to move forward with the drainage improvements and the upgrades to this equipment and facilities. The bleachers, for example, were 4 sets of 5-row bleachers. We're not quite sure if we can fit that, particularly down the first baseline. If that's only 2 sets, that would be half of that cost. The batting tunnel is installed. It's not just an equipment only, and I think I actually have a picture of that here somewhere. Just bear with me.
Thank you.
Yep, bear with me 1 second. I think it would turn out to look like that. Location sort of to be determined, whether it's sort of out beyond the fence, the outfield fence in left field.
Did you change the picture? Because we still see the same cost summary.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me
Yeah, I just realized there
pull it
should
over.
be. There we go.
You see that?
Yep. Thanks.
Is that what it will look like, Doug?
I believe so, yes.
Okay.
Yep, that's what was quoted in that dollar amount pegged at 26,000 installed.
Any questions, anybody?
So,
Thoughts?
my personal recommendation, I just don't see how we get to the point where we're able to fund the relocation of the field, the venue. I would love it. I just, and not to mention, if we did that, we would still, for JV, we would still have to make these potential improvements on the field unless we can, creatively schedule both teams to use the same field if we were to build a new stadium.
Well, I think with all the other things we have going on, I'm not too sure we could relocate, and that's a lot. That's 800 and some thousand. Oh, go ahead, Peg. I'm ready for you.
I hate, I just keep bringing up this question. And so, Bobby, have we heard from OCR? Because here's why I'm asking. If we make all these improvements and OCR comes back to us and says, not good enough, I want to believe that if we move forward with these improvements, that's going to satisfy the OCR.
Yeah, we've not heard Ms. Pennypacker. We last wrote to them November of 2019.
Wow.
We actually just had a meeting with Justin, one of our solicitors, and they actually changed our investigator for a 3rd time. And I believe he has a phone call with OCR sometime this week to kind of touch base with them. But
Okay.
the last time we sent them in November of 2019, our plan that we were adding girls indoor track and all that type of stuff. We've not heard from them since then.
Okay. Well, I would not relax if I were you guys, because with the change of administration, I think you're going to see an uptick now with the OCR, and that will take time, but I wouldn't, get to a point where you're thinking, well, they're they're not thinking of us. We don't have to worry. I think it's just a matter of time till they come back and say, here we go. Okay, thank you.
Boy, that really leaves you on the edge, doesn't it? Because that's either way, if a $223,000 upgrade doesn't get us anywhere, we still need to do something with that.
But Melanie,
yet-
I want to believe that this is going to get us where we need to be. I really do believe that. I don't think they're going to discredit what we're doing.
No, I agree. But then, you think to yourself, well, they're not going to make us, and Keith wants to know what OCR means. Oh, thanks, Office of Civil
It's
Rights.
the Office for
Thanks,
Civil
Bob.
Rights, Keith. So they are the enforcement arm of Title IX, not just athletics, but everything under Title IX. So it's the Department of Education through the Office of Civil Rights.
I think right now that relocating it is pretty much out of the question. Even though that would be really cool. I don't know. Thoughts? Keith, Dana, thoughts? I feel like it's like a balancing act at the moment. That's a really long time. That's almost 2 years. Well, it's a year and a half.
That's how it rolls, Melanie. I mean,
That's
investigations go for, they were at Springford for 6 years. So, really, it's either proceed with this or wait until OCR comes back to us and says, you got to do X, Y, and Z. I don't think waiting is a great idea. That's
Not in
just,
this case.
yeah.
I agree. Not in this case. I mean, it is a big mess out there. So.
And we'll have another milestone. So the next step for me would be to solicit a proposal from like a Barry Isaac, Jim Mazika, and start them down the path of designing the improvements, going out to bid, and then we would sort of have a checkpoint there. Once the bids come back, we could say, go, no go at that point. We would have sunk cost in architectural fees, but if something transpires with OCR in that interim period, at least we have another checkpoint that we could, sort of change course.
Offer up.
Right.
Yeah.
But Melanie, if you're looking for committee suggestions, I suggest we move forward.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. I just think that that's ridiculous. Like if the DEP came in, you had to make a plan for them. They sure as heck wouldn't be taking a year and a half to figure it out. I don't get it. I just don't get it. That. Just annoys me. That's all.
Well,
Not much I can do about it.
Melanie, you and I will do coffee. One day I'll explain it to you.
Okay, I'm good with that. I'm good with that. So I mean, as a committee, and then obviously Peg and I for sure, and I can pretty much assume that Mike would be on board with this as well. And to move ahead with this.
Mhm.
Again, Sandy's gonna strangle us, but
It's another bake sale.
yeah, that's a big one. Yep.
Well, thank you for transferring the money earlier this year into capital.
Yeah, it's a good thing. It's a good thing. All right, well, I say so what do you want to do for next step, Doug?
So my next step would be to solicit a professional services proposal from Barry Isaac, and then list that on, the next either board agenda or workshop agenda for approval by the full board. And we need to get moving, obviously, if we want to try to get this work done.
Yep.
In the July, August timeframe. There is, and I don't completely understand it, I'll be honest with you, there's an MPDES permit specific to the middle school that we have to let lapse, or not lapse, but expire before we can do this work. If I'll have
Otherwise it'll work its way in with that one. And then we'll-
exactly. I'll have a better command of that
Okay.
when we meet next. But they are intertwined, and we kind of have to let one finish before we start the next.
Okay.
Um,
So will we have time to have it in by the softball season or not?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right.
We're going to be starting softball season like the third week of March.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Oh, yeah, that's right. It is almost March, isn't it?
Yeah, next week. So this would be in place for the, the following fall and then into this, following school year, essentially.
Maybe we'll have heard from the OCR by then. Maybe.
Maybe.
Boy. Okay. So I guess we'll go along with I don't think you need a vote on that, but I'm pretty sure we're all good with that. Go ahead to the next level on that one.
Right. I will get that moving.
Okay.
I
Oh, go
just
ahead,
asked,
Dana.
if you were going to relocate the fields, what was the idea behind that? Like taking the the field, the baseball field on Montgomery Avenue and putting the girls there and moving the boys somewhere else, or there's not really space for other fields somewhere?
Yeah, Dana, I think one of the thoughts was to put the varsity field where the current JV softball field is, to sort of co-locate it with the turf fields and the baseball field. So it'd all be accessible sort of from that path or in that general area there. Potentially we would still need a place for the JV team to play if they're playing, simultaneously. And Mr. Kurzweg and I were talking today, just kicking some ideas around. If I was a softball parent, I think I'd be parking at the middle school now and walking the new path, from the middle school to the field versus coming in off of Walt Road. The players obviously would have to come in across Walt Road, but a little bit shorter distance to travel for the parents.
Anybody else? Okay, I still can't see everybody. If somebody notices a hand raised, let me know, because I just can't see everyone.
There's none.
Okay, thank you. All right, so I guess we'll move on to our Giza project.
Yeah, the next few will go a lot quicker. So Giza Project is obviously well underway. We did get the counter signed or the counter executed construction work order number 1 and the energy services agreement. So that paperwork is complete. We have a construction kickoff meeting tomorrow for phase 1A. That work, particularly with the chiller and lighting, is second or third week in March. So we're excited to get started with those scopes of work. The engineering package for phase 1B is almost complete, and we'll be going out to contractors for quotes for that lion's share of the project in the next week. Trying to think if there's anything else. It's, we're close to getting started with construction at this point, which is exciting. They have engaged the codes official for Red Hill Borough, so for permits and getting all those lined up, and we're gonna get started here soon.
Great, especially that chiller. Let's get that bugger moving.
Yeah, the chiller is physically supposed to arrive the second week in March, I believe, and they want to have the existing unit out so it can kind of be hoisted right into the room where it will ultimately reside.
Will we be christening that with a bottle of champagne?
Yeah, we probably should, yes.
Yep, I think we're gonna have a parade escort is what we should do.
Right.
Yep, that's awesome. All right, well, thank you. I think
Sure.
unless anybody has any more questions about the Giza, we'll let that sit for now. Let's see. Okay, next on to Monco class system end of life. What new things have we come up with for that?
So we, couple items of activity on that front. Jim Roth and I've engaged him. He and I have went to his IT partners to look at another package called Informacast that would actually work with our Cisco phone system.
Okay.
And it does things very similar to the Alertus system, which is the county's proposed replacement. It appears to be cheaper, although we don't know that for sure. We are starting to get some order of magnitude quotes in. It has all the bells and whistles like strobes and panic buttons on the phones and panic buttons on mobile devices, and integration with existing speakers and IP speakers and texting and direct dialing, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So we're looking at all of that. We're also going to be entertaining the sales rep from the county's replacement in the next week or two. Dr. Roach, Jim Roth, and I will be meeting with them. We're also going to be talking to the police, our police liaisons at a multi-hazard meeting this Thursday, just to understand, if they're familiar with any other systems. Even with the county's replacement, for example, that does go directly to the Monco dispatcher. But if it's for the high school or the middle school, they still have to pick up the phone and call the state police desk, which is, pretty inefficient. Some of these other systems that we're looking could make simultaneous phone calls. It could call 911 and also call like the Limerick police dispatcher at PSP simultaneously. So I'm scheduling a call with the commander of the Limerick barracks just to understand if they would allow us to do that. It would be sort of a robocall. It wouldn't be a live voice. So there's a lot of sort of vetting going on. In general, in the safety and security community in the schools, this is still a very hot, agitating topic. It's got a lot of people sort of hot under the collar. But we still have some time. It's still, 10 months before end of life. So we're going to continue to do our due diligence, and I'll continue to update the committee as things unfold.
Okay, good. Anybody have any questions about that? No, if you do and I can't see you, just kind of unmute yourself and holler out. I'm okay with that.
That's right.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. All right, so I guess we'll move on to the high school sinkhole. And hopefully it's filled in with snow probably.
No, well, the good news is it's not a sinkhole.
Yeah.
It's actually a cistern.
Mm-hmm.
It was man-made. It has, defined walls to it, if you will, and it just happened to sort of uncover itself. And then it started to snow, and it snowed ever since, and we haven't been able to get out there yet to actually address the issue. The plan is to do some excavation around it, just to make sure we understand the kind of the footprint.
Breadth of it.
And then it just, likely just a fill in and compact and move on.
You just want to find the shovel.
Well, yeah, no, we do want to do that. We do that. I'll share my screen here real quick, and then we can move on to the next topic. So this is an old picture of the high school when the
farmhouse.
Yep.
yes.
Oh, it brings back memories.
Sure does.
Sandy, that's chapter 15 for you.
Yep.
I was
right.
in there.
Yeah.
The interesting thing is that this row of trees are still there. This tree has since been cut down, but the cistern is like right in this area here. So definitely connected to the farmhouse. I don't know. We're not sure if it was, a drinking water cistern or something sanitary related. But once the snow is gone and we can get back on firm ground, we'll take care of it. It doesn't appear to be much of an issue.
Maybe you'll find Jimmy Hoffa.
That's right.
Maybe. Who knew?
I may have to take a metal detector or something just in that area real quick before we fill it in, just to see what I can find. But
Well, if we found Jimmy Hoffa, then we could relocate the softball field because we'd have lots of money from the money we would sell our story from.
There you have it.
The FBI is a suspected location. They'll come out and do everything for you.
Yeah, perfect. Perfect. Okay.
All right,
Yep. Moving on to Cuny Stadium signage.
moving right along. So, and Melanie, you may have to help me with this a little bit. I know we were contacted by Mr. Cuny, and I can,
Dave is here, by the way.
He's on
he
here. I
is,
saw him.
he
Dave
is,
is
I
here.
saw him, yes. And he presented two different renderings of the sign, which I'll also pull up here if I can.
Yep, that was a while ago.
Yes.
I remember seeing the email.
So this is
Yep.
one version of
Yep.
sign to go above the scoreboard. That was the consensus when we met on site, that that was going to be the best location for that. And
Yep.
then there was a second rendering, which is this.
Yep.
I know I've had a conversation with Mr. Kurzwig. Our general feeling is that we prefer this this rendering just because of the sort of the symmetry involved with the bottom portion of the sign size.
Can you go back to the other one again?
We can.
Thanks.
Yep.
Just
If
'cause-
I can figure out how to do that.
sorry.
No, it's my fault.
In there somewhere.
Yep. There it is.
Okay, there we go. Oh, okay. You sure it wasn't this one?
No, I,
That's more symmetrical top to bottom than the other one. Well, I guess maybe not.
this distance from here to here was almost, it looked like almost double kind of this distance here.
Oh, okay.
So we that's,
And the other one has two UPs flanking the
does.
Bill and Stadium. Yeah.
it does. Yeah.
Okay. I was doing one of these things is not like the other in my mind there.
Yeah, this one does look more symmetrical, so.
Yeah.
That looks nice, very nice.
Mhm. No, I thought I think it'd be a nice addition. From what I understand, there's fundraising that still needs to take place, and the such. But I think Mr. Cuny wanted to get some direction from us on which rendering we preferred.
If I could just say one thing, on that current diagram that you have up, the UP on both sides, the interlocking, I've told Reed Sign Company that to have it the same size as the other lettering on either side.
Right, you would be able to see it better.
Yeah, and I think when she did it, I think she just kind of, because when I said something to her about it, I think she just kind of threw it in. I don't think she, put a lot of time, but it would be the same. It would be the same size block lettering. The UP
Okay.
on both sides would be, and insofar as the fundraising, this particular sign here, with the labor and all the things would come to $2,600, and we already have a anonymous donation for 1,000, so
Nice.
on our way. And just so I just was trying to get some guidance too, then just at some point of going back to them, when can they get it done and we get it paid, and that kind of stuff, and what your time frame was in terms of maybe trying to install it. And if I could just say one other thing.
Sure.
When Andrea was live, I love that background she had there.
Yeah, that's a good one. It is a good one. I saw that at the last meeting. That is a good one. Peg?
Yeah, I think this is
Good with
great.
that?
Yeah,
Yep.
that's great.
Okay, all right. I say we'll go with that. Doug, do you have any thoughts on time frame or how long it would take? I mean, I don't know how long it would take to put up. I don't think it would be all that terrible.
No, I think the supports to the rear of the sign have to be extended, I believe, and then the sign mounted on those extended supports. I'm just not, I'll be honest, I'm a little unclear whether that falls to Reed Sign or that falls to the district. Mr. Cuny, do you have a feel for?
Well, I mean, we're gonna pay for it either way. So, I mean, I don't know who, I'm assuming it's them.
Them,
That's what
right?
I
That was,
thought.
Because
because I
when,
know when we met on site, that was the discussion we had. Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's
so-
what I remember.
Something turnkey for Reed Sign. You know, you make it, you install it. Yeah.
Great. Excellent. All right. So I guess we have a winner. And are you good with that one, Dave, as well?
Yeah, I think, my mother told me whatever people think looks the nicest. That was
Okay.
my march orders from my mother, and so that's good. And I just want to thank everybody again for all their help, and really, from all of our family, just truly, truly, really appreciate it. And thank you so very much.
Yep. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Yep.
Okay.
Peg's giving the thumbs up. All right. So I guess we will move on to new business. And yep, there's Andrea behind with her sign behind her. That is a good one.
Looks great. What a background.
That is a good one.
But I miss seeing your dogs going up and down the steps.
Yeah, me too. Me too. They're cute. And your husband sometimes. Oh, look, there you go. Oh, God.
All right.
All right, new business, police
Yep.
memorandum of understanding.
So every 2 years, the district is required to renew or ink a memorandum of understanding with each of our police partners. So we have MOUs with both troops of the Pennsylvania State Police. So Troop K out of, and I think it's K is Skipback and L is Reading. We also do Marlboro Police and East Greenville Police. Dr. Roach was approached recently by Chief Adam from Pennsburg. And it was Chief Adams' recommendation that we also enter into an MOU with, excuse me, Pennsburg or Upper Perk Police. Specifically, not so much that they're, a school is in Pennsburg proper, that that they have primary responsibility for. It's more for, we certainly have bus stops in their jurisdiction. Our buses traverse their jurisdiction, and Dr. Roach just thought we would bring it to this forum and see if anyone had any opposition to us proceeding with the similar MOU with Upper Perk Police, in addition to the 4 entities that we already.
I think that's fine. We do that at work as well. So yeah, I don't have a problem with that at all. They're our closest ones to quite a bit of our areas. They're right in the center. So
They are, no doubt.
Yep. I don't know.
If I could just weigh in with a vote of encouragement, because we also have a good relationship with them, and we're doing welfare checks for kids. It's nice to know that there's a formalized partnership there.
That's a good one. That makes a lot of sense. Yep. Peg, go with that.
Yeah, Joe Adam is a UP grad.
Mhm.
Yep. Good guys. They're all good guys.
I believe he has these children in the district too, I think.
Yes. And go ahead, Keith. I see your hand up.
Does that give them a priority for responding, or do they already respond if necessary with the memorandum of understanding? Because even though our buildings are outside of the district, they would still respond no matter what, correct?
They would, and that's part of that that annex system that we have. Not only it goes directly to Montgomery County, so they would be notified in addition to state police.
It would be a good thing to have.
We want all the help we can get in
Know
situations.
a lot of the kids in the district already. They do a lot of socialization with them. It's a great move for everybody all around.
Yeah,
Yep.
I agree.
Yep. I agree. Well, there's your direction there too.
Okay, we will.
That was easy.
Yep, we'll move forward with that. The other MOUs, I believe, are up at the end of this school year. So we'll have to
Yes.
get those renewed.
Okay.
Uh,
I
the-
remember talking about them before.
Yeah,
Obviously,
and,
a
and
year
there's
and a
been
half
some
ago or something.
change. There used to be a relationship with the Montgomery County District Attorney, and they had to sign off. They've released new guidelines, and they've sort of extracted themselves from the MOU process. So now it's just the district and the police entity. So that'll make it extra quicker to renew. So
Do we have MOUs with like the ambulance and anything like that?
I
I don't know if that was necessary or not.
don't believe so.
Okay. I mean, I guess they would have to come no matter what.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
True. Thank you, ambulance. Okay. We'll move on to PSP risk and vulnerability assessment,
Yeah, this is
In
just an
case no one had
FYI.
in case no one had anything else to do.
That's right. So the Pennsylvania State Police has a team that will come in and do a risk and vulnerability assessment of a school district. I corresponded with them recently, filled out a lot of paperwork, and we are on their schedule for them to come out to do a risk and vulnerability assessment of our school district. It doesn't cost us anything. It's very inclusive and interactive process from what I understand. So I'm excited about that. I just can't tell you when it's going to be. They, we're on the list. I'm hoping Sandy can make a phone call on our behalf, but
And my son does this. So.
I was just gonna say, I figured that's where the connection was.
I really like those words you said, no cost. That was awesome.
yeah, no, right. We don't have to have a bake sale for this.
No bake sales.
There is
Nope.
no bake. Now, the next item, we may have to have another bake sale, but
Of course. Okay.
so any questions on that? As that, once we're notified when that date will, when we'll be, they'll be in the district for a few days, I'm sure. And I can certainly circle back to everybody.
Okay. Yep. Keep us posted on that.
Okay.
All right. On to high school track takeoff board replacement. High school. Oh, okay. I
Yes.
got it. I didn't say it right.
So, and Mr. Kurz would correct me if I'm wrong, but we were approached by one of the track coaches or possibly multiple track coaches with issues specific to the runways for the triple jump and the long jump. So we have two of those runways. One goes in, you run towards the school, one you run away from the school. And I can share my screen again. We have some issues.
Oh.
The takeoff boards that the athletes would be starting from. This is one of them. Here's another.
I swear we're a lawsuit waiting to happen.
What a disaster sometimes. Oh my gosh.
Between that and the pole vault pit, which we took care of.
Yes.
We did.
Yeah.
Yeah, so basically, like Mr. Kenwood said, we have two pits that we use for our jumping events. And traditionally, we have used only one of the pits, the one that goes towards the school. However, Coach Maurer, the last 2 years, has done a really, really good job of getting more athletes out. And last year, unfortunately, before we got shut down, we had close to 150 athletes out for our track team, 60 of those being females, which was almost triple of what we've done in the past. So he's done an excellent job of, him and Coach Duza have getting more kids out. So he approached me towards the end of the fall, right in the beginning of the winter, about trying to get the second pit up and running because of the amount of athletes that we've gotten out. They'd be able to do a whole lot more with them, being able to run both running pits at the same time. And that's when he came to me and we went out and looked at the jumping boards, is when I then contacted Doug, Mr. Kenwood.
Do we have a cost for replacement on that?
Yeah, well, this is where the bake sale comes in. So Mr. Kurzwig reached out to, is it AstroTurf Company?
Yes.
And they came out and actually informed us that these takeoff boards were not installed correctly from jump, no pun intended, or maybe pun intended. And the cost that they came back with for both, to repair both of these, was slightly more than $11,000.
Oh,
So I
Yeah.
imagine the statute of limitations is up to go after the company that installed them, number one.
guys.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And that $11,000, is that for both runways?
it is.
Okay.
It is. Yeah.
And can we make an agreement that, Doug and Bobby, that we do regular inspections of our athletic facilities so this stuff doesn't keep happening? And if you need checklists, so I got tons of checklists, as Bobby knows, so I'd be happy to help. But I think we really need to start talking about doing regular inspections of all our athletic stuff.
Yeah, I agree.
Just my opinion, but
I agree.
so.
Yeah, that was one of the thoughts I had when this came to our attention. How did it get to this point? I agree as well. We've had great luck with our turf fields, but and those are getting inspected, and GMAX tested every year, but I think some of these ancillary things don't get the attention that they should.
And I think $11,000 is a good price, personally.
How long are they?
Based on experience I've had.
How long are they? Just out of curiosity. Oh, 4 feet. That's wide or
Yes,
long? That's
8
wide.
inches.
that's the width of the runway, I believe.
Okay.
And what they're basically saying was not installed properly is, if, on some of those pictures, you can see the thin metal is very bent, which is clearly getting caught by mowers or that type of stuff. Those should actually be down in the ground. Those you should not almost even see, where you see that they are level with the running surface.
Mhm.
When I spoke with AstroTurf, they said one of the new moves right now is to just remove the jumping boards completely, which is something that a lot of school districts have gone to. And we looked at that thinking that maybe that would be a better savings. And because of them being installed improperly, we can't even go that route at this time.
Yeah, that's not what I was looking for.
So what would they put there if say they were installed correctly, what would they, there really is concrete in there?
Yeah, they would literally, if it was installed properly, they would literally just remove it and make it look like one full, runway instead of having the jumping board there.
Okay.
They still use jumping boards and obviously big competitions and state championships, but the move has been, if you're not hosting big time, invitationals at your facility, that's been something that's been, kind of been the move here the last couple of years.
Okay.
So if we approve to move forward with this, Doug, can these be reinstalled this spring or no?
That's our hope. We haven't gotten a time frame back from them yet, Peg. But obviously time would be of the essence here to try to get this work done by early April at the latest. But we'd have to circle back to you on that.
Yeah, I would
Okay.
think that the time frame would probably work, especially once the 3 foot of snow gets removed from the stadiums. I think we could probably get them out.
That's right.
Well, that's gonna melt this week, so we're good.
Sure.
We're hoping.
Yeah.
Doug, does this under the quote threshold?
It is amazingly just under.
Wow.
It is there. I think
Okay.
quote threshold is what is it, 11,100?
Oh my, how clever of them to make it just under the bid threshold.
I think it's a little higher.
But they are co-stars, Sandy, as well. So
Oh, good.
they have a co-stars contract under the rec and fitness equipment.
I don't think we really have a choice, but not to fix that. Dina, Keith, I know you guys are on here somewhere. Thoughts?
How's the rest of the runway, I guess? Is that the only portion that really needs to be replaced or anything else along with it?
There's actually a couple areas where there's almost, I don't want to say a hole, but the part of the material missing that they told me that they would be able to fix while they were out on site as well as part of this.
Okay, that would be helpful.
And we had that divot in the pole vault runway repaired, correct?
Correct.
That little bit of extra included in this price, or will they charge us a little bit more for that?
Now that
Outside
my
of-
understanding from the gentleman is this is the price, and I even actually asked that question with those areas, and he said they would take care of that.
Great, thank you.
For an extra $70. Oh, no, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Yeah, I say, go ahead, Sandy, you're gonna strangle all of us, but okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think
Gotta
somehow
update
I'm gonna have to find the money for this one in my budget, but we'll figure something out.
Hiring this year, so she's going out with a bang.
Yeah, on us.
I think, too, I haven't billed St. Luke's for the contribution that they provide.
Perfect.
This is the last year. So this could easily be covered by that contribution.
That would be nice.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
That's really good.
Mhm.
Yeah, they're good.
And not to bust that bubble, but if you're talking about the $15,000, that was used towards the wrestling mats.
Ah,
17.5, yeah.
Okay.
All right. More
okay,
bake sale.
back to the bake sale. Okay,
Right.
so
Guess I
go
can
ahead.
get it from them now.
Yeah. So go ahead. All right. Anybody else? Any questions? Anything else?
Sandy, maybe you would want to donate the proceeds to your book to some of these projects.
Perfect.
There we go. I'm not sure I'm going to make very much.
Oh, I don't know.
We'll all buy it. We'll all buy it. Don't worry.
All right.
Everybody likes a good mystery.
That's,
That's right.
that's it. All right. Well, let's move on. Last item on here, facility usage requests. Really?
Yeah, so we are starting to see an uptick in requests to use both indoor and outdoor, sports venues. And in consultation with Dr. Farina and Dr. Roach and everything we're trying to navigate with COVID and just trying to keep our schools open, which we've done a great job with so far. And even in consultation with Mr. Kurzwig, I think the consensus is to continue to hold those folks off and not have it impact, our 7 to 4 school day. It's the sort of the intermingling and potentially having to review their health and safety plans and all of the work associated with, and even the state of the rink at the Ed Center, now being used as our one-to-one, I don't even know what you call it, depot or
Our technology hub.
I like that better, technology. I'm struggling to I think.
I agree. Plus, we're going to have work at Hereford. If we do a full day K, we obviously have work at the high school. We have our Giza project, all those LED lights. We have lots of things going on.
Right. We do, maybe once, our spring seasons are over, June 1st or sometime in June, we could open up the outside venues, maybe the turf fields and such, the baseball and softball fields, but I just can't get there right now.
Yeah, I agree. Peg, what do you think?
Yeah, we're not there yet, and I think by midsummer, hopefully, it depends on vaccinations and levels and all that. So no, I think we've got to stay the course.
Yep, I agree.
Are you guys getting beat up a lot by groups?
No, it's just, I think everyone's understanding and sensitive. They just, send the inquiry in via email. Has there been any change to, the usage kind of moratorium? And we just wanted to bring it up again just to see if we wanted to
It
change.
doesn't hurt to ask.
Right. Yeah, exactly. They just ask.
Okay. Keith, Dana, you good with that too?
I am good with that.
Okay. All right. Even though I guess we could use the revenue from it for our extra projects, but safety
Yeah.
first.
Right.
And I would just say, I think, like Mr. Kenwood said, if we look for something after our spring seasons are over, I know baseball is the one that has really been in contact with me, just because our fields are basically the only fields in our district that are full-size fields for Junior Legion and Legion to play on. So I do think that waiting until our spring seasons are complete, so we don't have to worry about, intermingling with our athletes and people coming in and out of our facilities, that maybe come June, if not July, we could look to do something, for those outside groups like that.
It would be really strange driving down Montgomery Avenue and not seeing people play in that first field.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Any other questions, comments? Any new business that we didn't cover already?
I have a few things. But
Go ahead.
Doug, you can go first.
No, I just had one thing that I actually neglected to put on the agenda. I apologize. The hail damage to the middle school chillers.
Mhm.
Initially, the manufacturer had quoted almost $100,000 of repairs. Insurance sent their own engineer out. They came back with $11,000 of repairs. There are coils, or think of them as panels. I think there's 8 on each chiller. The 2 end panels are significantly damaged, like 80% hail damaged plus. The others are much less significantly damaged, and they don't want to pay. Insurance doesn't want to pay to repair the 14 others. So I went back to the manufacturer. We looked at it again, and there are a few other items that we want to have included to specifically maintain the warranty and not, reduce the life of the equipment. So just earlier this week, I went back in writing to insurance with an appeal and a revised quote for about $31,000 from the manufacturer. So I'm just waiting to hear on hopefully they come up. I don't think they included things like freight or refrigerant recovery or the crane to lift these panels up onto the roof. And so I brought all those things to their attention. So we hope they come up, because
Thank you.
we're about $20,000 apart right now.
Yeah. Well, thanks for the diligence on that one. That's awful because they're brand new.
Yeah, and I said to Sandy, I said, you get hail damage to your car, it doesn't affect how it drives or how it performs, but it is damaged.
Right.
They should pay for that.
I agree. Well, hopefully they'll think better of that.
Yeah,
Hopefully.
we'll see how the appeal goes, but I'll keep everyone updated.
Okay.
So I'm done.
Okay. Peg, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah, a question about the chiller damage. When that eventually gets repaired, can you get like protective screening so that doesn't happen again?
I asked that question. I said, would you folks pay to have hail guards put on, so it doesn't happen again and we don't have subsequent claims? And they said no.
Oh,
Forget it.
that's too bad.
So I did try. I tried.
So, Doug, do you have my list in front of you?
I think I might.
Okay.
Hold on.
That's just sad.
It's on my desktop. It's right here. I got
Is it
Sorry.
checklist?
I got it.
I'm so sorry. Just one item on the list. How are you making out? And maybe, again, this is one of those items that's low on the list, the replacing the high school gym baskets.
I full transparency, I have not started to work on that.
Okay,
yet.
that's fine. That's a low priority item. I get it.
Yep.
Okay. And then to add to your list,
Okay.
actually, this is something that you can put on that inspection checklist for athletic facilities. The fencing around the track, right? The low black fencing. Okay. Check the gates, because
Yes.
a couple of those gates open into the track and they're digging up the track.
Mhm.
So just put that on the checklist to fix those gates.
Yeah, we have the full perimeter of Cuny and Tribe Stadium. There's repairs that need to be done. The students have figured out how to kind of shimmy underneath, and they're just, yeah, I'm with you on that one, definitely.
That's it. Thank you.
I have one thing. We haven't talked about it for a while, but I have a feeling it's going to rear its ugly head. 4-5 bus car traffic. We have any update on how that's doing or not doing?
I don't specifically. I don't think we've had the issue just because of the low.
Andrea's laughing.
Andrea's laughing.
Oh.
Well,
Yeah,
Sandy
yeah.
has some information to share. Well, you couldn't be better. You must, were your ears like itchy?
Yeah, really.
Sensed something was happening? Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Sandy.
This
Or
is
talk to Alan.
This is a today issue. Jen met with the police chief, and the police chief indicated to her today that well, he thought they had passed something and they were just signing the ordinance, and we get a letter that we had to put the buses in front and the drivers in the back. Well, we had no knowledge, weren't informed. So I called East Greenville, and they were, the person I spoke to didn't know anything. She talked to Jim Fry, and they are proceeding. We should be getting a letter from their attorney. Apparently the police are recommending and somebody from council about putting the buses in the front and the traffic in the back. But
Sort of like it used to be.
well, right, and they're the ones who had us change it. So, and then we had some issues with 4th and 5th Street, and they said, well, yeah, we can drive down 5th. There was a time when the mayor didn't, years ago, didn't want us driving down 5th, but there was never anything passed or anything. So it was just one of those things we just didn't do. But police chief had no problem with that, especially since we couldn't maneuver all 4th because cars were parked inappropriately because of the snow, and the buses couldn't turn. So this is how it all started. But so the discussion is, it looks like they're proceeding to move towards asking us to make a change or requiring us to make a change. We don't have that information yet. We have not received anything from their solicitor. So it's kind of like wait and see at this point, but we want to be a little bit proactive to see, what is it that we need to do? What's the questions? We did make some changes at the 4-5, which we said we would do about opening up early. The chief didn't think we were opening up early. So I think there's some communication that we need to have with them. We didn't realize it was an issue right now because we only have half this. I mean, we know there's some traffic issues because parents like to come really early, especially pick up, but we weren't aware that there was still any issues with East Greenville at this time because they have not really said anything to us, but apparently there is.
Okay, and the mayor is the crossing guard. That's 5th and Main. Their mayor, East Greenville's mayor, Angie Begley.
That's the council president.
Oh, that's right. Oh, gosh. Yeah, you're right. Sorry. Thanks, Keith. Good thing you're on here. All right. Well, I just figured I'd ask if we had anything new on it, just to keep it on the books. So that way everyone knows we're talking about it still. Okay. Anybody have anything else? Seeing no one and nothing, I would look for a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Good night.
See you Thursday.
Good night.